Let's look at one last example because this is a pretty interesting reagent that we have, Na2S. We know each of these sodiums is positively charged, so what does this reagent give us? We have S2 minus as an anion. Now, once again, we've never seen that on an oxygen. That would be impossible with an oxygen, but because the sulfur is larger, it can accommodate those extra electrons, and it can have a -2 charge. So what do you think would happen with this reagent if we treat it with this dihalide? How do you think this reagent behaves? Acid, base, electrophile, nucleophile. What do you think it does? Looks like a pretty good nucleophile to me, pretty great nucleophile because it's negatively charged. So what are we going to do with it? And here, let's look at our Lewis structure. We have 2, 4, 6, 8 electrons, but sulfur, just like oxygen, wants only 6 electrons, so that's why we have our -2 charge. And with this alkyl halide, we certainly have an electrophile, so what I expect to happen is attack the carbon, kick off the leaving group. Now the sulfur has just 3 lone pairs and a bond. What kind of charge do we have there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sulfur wants 6, so this is still an S minus, which means after it does this first SN2, it's still reactive, it's still a great nucleophile. And what do we have over here? Within the same molecule, we have an electrophile, we have an electrophilic carbon bearing a leaving group. And so what can happen is we could get an intramolecular SN2 to take place. So we kind of have a second SN2 here. What size ring would this form? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is a 5-membered ring acceptable for doing an intramolecular backside attack? It's very good. 5 and 6 are both great. So what we're going to form here, just like we did, we could make a cyclic ether by doing an intramolecular Williamson. We can make a cyclic thioether. Here we have a 5-membered ring this way. So the more you know about alcohols and ethers, the easier it is to think about thiols and thioethers because they do many of the same things that oxygen does, but it's important to remember that the sulfur is larger, so it has some interesting consequences in terms of acidity and in terms of nucleophilicity. Thanks for visiting Educator.com. Hope to see you again soon.